Life's a gamble, take a chance. In the twilight of fortune's dance.
On this episode of Sin City Spin, we do a callback. We learn not to touch ourselves. The AVNs are in town, and none of this matters if you're in Mississippi. Really, we're talking about the executive order designating cartels foreign terrorists. Thanks for joining us.
Host with voices rich and cool. Share the secrets, break the rules. Martini wisdom flows like gold. Every episode a story told.
Greetings from fabulous Las Vegas. My DoorDash driver loves me. I'm Drew Masur. To my right, his Uber driver is ambivalent. Jason Slider LeDuc. To my left, his Amazon delivery person hates him. It's Christian Mental Ward. Thank you for joining us. We are Sin City Spin, and you will be hearing this on or after Monday, January 27th.
Is ambivalent better than bivalent?
Yeah, it's got an am.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
think, therefore, I am ambivalent.
yeah.
That's our show, folks. Aren't you glad you wasted your time? It's all like this from here. Nonsense.
The best nonsense.
All right. Well, we think it is anyway.
Pretty good.
So we I don't know if you guys have noticed. We have a new president, and he has done a lot of stuff recently.
Are we still doing that? Like getting new presidents? Is that still a thing we
He's
do?
busy.
They did introduce a bill to allow him to run for a third term. So maybe we don't do this anymore. I don't know how this goes. I hope it's not the same senator who decided that. It's not really. It's an onion thing that's taking hold.
Oh,
but
no,
it was
legit. I saw it.
Oh, really? The conception begins at erection.
Oh, you're talking about something different. I did see that too.
Yeah,
that's a legit thing too.
So
it's
Mississippi, they want to make it illegal to discharge any sort of genetic material unless it is for the purpose of procreation. We have found Drew's dystopian nightmare.
I can never, ever live there.
And I was looking forward to spending my golden years in Mississippi, folks.
I don't even think I can visit.
And I know some folks from Mississippi. I don't mean to throw shade, but you guys do this to yourself.
You do. Yeah, and I've got friends in Mississippi too. But there was another executive declaration.
Oh, there are so many. I mean, what we had 70 on Monday alone, and this is one of them. So I found this very interesting. This is our new president has designated the drug cartels and some other organizations. We'll get into the details of it, but he's actually designated them as foreign terrorist organizations. And I believe I did a little looking on this. This is the first time that a drug cartel or a criminal gang has been designated formally as a terrorist organization. I know we've done some drug interdiction stuff in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Counter narco terrorism.
Yeah.
I got a medal for that because it sounded way better than counter drug.
And I tried to do a little research to see if we had really gone through and declared those organizations as terrorist organizations, much like we would with Hamas or Hezbollah or something like that. I couldn't find it. Doesn't mean we didn't. I think that was a law enforcement mission term that we were kind of using back in those days. But now what it doesn't really designate the cartels yet. It gives the secretary, it tells the Secretary of State, we have a new Secretary of State, tells the Secretary of State he's got 14 days to determine whether we should do that or not. Now, I'm assuming that's going to happen, but we've all been in the national security field. Mental, you have some background with the interdiction side of this.
Yes.
I wanted to bring this up. Because I know what I think about this, and some of that goes back to my days as an Air War College instructor where we would talk about these kinds of things. But I wanted to get your guys' take on pros, cons, good thing, bad thing. What does it buy us? Where does maybe it hurt us?
All right. Well, the most obvious thing, by designating them terrorist organization, it enables you to use the United States military and other violent instruments of policy that would normally not be allowed under posse comitatus. So And that you can do that inside of the 12 nautical miles inside the contiguous United States. So from that end, it's good. But if you just designate a specific organization, this organization, MS-13, is now a terrorist organization, and MS-13 goes, oh, well, now we're rebranded as Mary Kay. So, you're trying to outregulate something. So I don't like the idea of designating them as they exist, but I do like the idea of defining them by activities. If an organization does these following activities, we are going to designate them as a threat to our national security, and then that allows us to bring military might to bear on this one.
Well, I hope the State Department's just taking notes, guys. That seems to be a major flaw in this.
And one of the keys to this, but when we were doing this counter-narco-terrorism, we actually introduced some new techniques. We were very effective in this, and we could tell because we would see a spike result in the price of the things that we were interdicting. And the cartels found a new tactic. And what they did was go to the New York Times and publish an article about how the U.S. military was toting drug enforcement agency personnel in one nation's helicopters piloted by another nation's pilots into a third nation's country. And they were trying to enforce U.S. laws. And we received enough political pressure to shut the operation down. Which, it was working, but this is when you start getting into this lawyer ball kind of deal, remember that's going to go both ways.
You make some fantastic points. I would like to start there. Honestly, I think I've been spending most of this podcast just listening to you going, ooh, that's so smart.
If MS-13 changes their name to Mary Kay, well, we're going to expect some sponsorship money. That's all I'm getting.
I think if MS-13 changes their name to Mary Kay, they're going to have some other things to deal with. Because those ladies in their pink cars don't mess around. So, yeah, I would not recommend Mary Kay. I would not recommend that branding MS-13. Right. Maybe someone less intense.
My IT background does not lend itself necessarily to this area. I think in general, when we choose to use the military for violence and when we violate the sovereignty of other nation states, that does come with political pressure, blowback, consequences, if you will. I think this administration may be better suited to handle external pressure.
Well, when we were doing it, the nations that we were doing it in cooperation with were fully in support of it. And this dates back to the early 2000s when Colombia did not control their country. So you had FARC, which is now officially a political party, but they were flying and doing things at will. And ultimately, Colombia was through some very aggressive tactics, but they were able to shut that down. They moved over to Venezuela, and then they were trying to hopscotch into Honduras. And there are nations in Central America that have taken a very aggressive. Nicaragua has never had a problem with drug cartels. And it is widely known by smugglers. If you bring a plane into the airspace and you've got painted over numbers on the side of the airplane, they're not going to announce their intention to fire. They fire. They just shoot you down. And what's interesting is aviation drug smuggling, they are very risk averse. So that happens twice. Okay, we're going someplace else. Believe it or not, Jamaica assumed a very aggressive posture with drug smugglers. Jamaica, despite being Jamaica, does not have a problem with drug smugglers coming through Jamaica. So they found these weak points to get to the southern border of Mexico, and then they are exploiting a lot of holes in some of Mexico's government, and then that stuff's coming up through the southern border.
And that's where I kind of took my take on this from. We talked about this kind of, we do a lot of theorizing and stuff at professional military education schools, especially in international security studies. And what I think one of the pros on this is, I'm not excited about sending U.S. troops into Mexico for risk reasons, for optics reasons. I'm not excited about that. What I think this does, I don't know if this was the intent, but what I think this does, this gives Mexico a little bit of diplomatic cover. Because cartels, my understanding, pretty well integrated into daily life in Mexico, depending on where you are in Mexico. It is integrated to the point where, as you said, government is kind of infiltrated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what this does is this gives the government a little bit of ability to say, the Mexican government, a little bit of ability to say, okay, we need to at least scale back on the violence. Because
yes.
we are facing when the U.S. lumps you in with terrorists,
yes,
it's pretty serious.
They're not accusing Mexico of terrorism. They're accusing the cartels on this. Now, one of the immediate effects, and this is happening already, is Marines are setting up on the border.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's great. We'll get the Marines in there. Okay, a Marine E4 is not trained in the ways of law enforcement. And it is completely possible that now you have placed a young military person who is trained to do one thing in a position to violate the rights of an American citizen. And they're not going to care because they were given a job and they are a tool and their job is to accomplish this thing. So there's a reason we have posse comitatus. And, some 200 years ago, we fought a minor skirmish with the world's biggest power at the time because we didn't like them using the military as law enforcement in our country.
I seem to remember some amendments about
that. Yeah.
So, the other advantage I think we have here, again, is it allows some other nations who might not want the optics of sharing intel with us to kind of secretly share intel with us because it's counterterrorism at this point, right? So I think there's, I have all the same concerns you have about
using it as an empowerment to help these nations take control of some of their own countries. I am 100% down with that.
I have all the same concerns about using the military force ramifications of this order. But I think on the diplomatic, economic, the other instruments of power we talk about, on those fronts, diplomatic, informational, economic, the ability to share intel under the cover of, this is terrorist intel. It's not open channel, open source kind of stuff anymore. There may be some advantages there, but that was just my thought. When everyone started talking about this on Monday on cable news, it was all like military deploy to wherever, and I was like,
I don't think we're putting boots on the ground. I think we're invading, having an invading force. I think if we do stuff, it's going to be drone, it's going to be missiles, it's going to be support perhaps for Mexican government officials to go in and go after.
Yeah. I think
it opens the door to cooperation.
Yeah, I think there are real opportunities, and I don't know if that's how this was intended.
Right.
But I think whether it was intended or not, I think there's real opportunities for us to be able to cooperate in a different way with these other nations and give them some top cover where they can cooperate back without necessarily having to look like they are disrupting the cartel's hold on their daily lives.
Yeah, hey, we didn't do that cartel. Don't be mad at us. It was those crazy American military people, and you don't want to attack them because they'll be angry. So and I will say it's not a stretch. What these organizations are doing is a threat. It is absolutely a threat to what our way of life. But the immediate effects we are seeing is U.S. troops being deployed on U.S. soil, and that is problematic.
Don't do drugs, kids. Stay in school. Yeah. Final word.
Don't do drugs.
No, just kidding. You guys can have other words on this.
Yeah.
But seriously, don't do drugs. Stay in school.
Yeah. So it's something a little more local. The Primm solar power plant, known to people who drive from Los Angeles into Las Vegas or vice versa as, what's that shiny thing over there?
or ow, I looked at it.
Why is it so bright?
I can't see anymore.
Now, for those who don't know what that is, literally as you cross the border from Nevada into California, on the northern side of the freeway is an array of mirrors that are pointed at a large tower. You can also see it on an airplane if you depart on the right one-way. Those mirrors heat water in the tower, which then turn turbines, and this was a green energy project. There's 3 of those towers. And the NRG Energy and Pacific Gas and Electric Company, or as they are known, PG&E, announced that they've been financing negotiations to terminate their long-term purchasing of power from those, from the Ivanpah solar power plant, as it is known. 386 megawatt concentrating solar power plant with 3 units covering 3,500 acres on the California side of the Mojave Desert. Here's my thing about this. It was a neat idea. But to make the water work, they have to burn through 184 the level of power of natural gas. So the whole thing starts with natural gas. And this is where I get annoyed with a lot of green energy stuff is, they pursue these neat ideas and then someone goes, well, it's not going to work this way. Let's just go back to a fossil fuel based thing. It all becomes smoke and mirrors, and the anti-solar people.
Literal smoke and mirrors on this one.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what? I walked right into that one. And they do this whole bit, like, oh, see, the green energy doesn't work. And then I have elected representatives from the state of Georgia saying things like, I don't like solar power because I don't want to go to bed when the sun goes down. Because we've got snake oil salesmen that are absolutely undoing good stuff. We live in the desert, and any number of us have solar or know people with solar power, and it is quite effective here. But you get this crap on this one. And now that it's shutting down, you know what they're going to do? They're going to tear all the mirrors down and actually replace them with just regular solar cells and generate electricity that way, which kind of feels like something they should have done in the first place.
Agreed. I don't know about any of that, but I do know the only reason I know that area is called Ivanpah is from the Fallout New Vegas video game. So
yes,
that's
fair.
The only reason I know that.
Yes.
As soon as you said Primm, I was like, ooh, I remember going to Primm.
Absolutely. And if you are a fan of the Fallout 2 video game, just inside of Primm, and technically, I think you get off the exit for Jean, Nevada. You can go to the Pioneer Saloon, which is the oldest saloon in Southern Nevada. And every time I have been there has been a YouTuber or a video game fan who goes into there, and they have very good burgers, and they show like old 1940s movies outside on the deck. It's a lovely,
that Good Springs is modeled after, right?
Mm-hmm. And you can even come to Las Vegas, rent an ATV, and drive there without having to go on the road. It's a common motorcycle destination. So yeah, Fallout New Vegas fans, highly recommend it.
We live in such an awesome city. I just wanted to say that.
We do.
All right. No ghouls, though.
My thought bubbles on this are thought bubbles brought to you by gummies. Look, every dollar that gets spent, that gets used, that gets consumed, it comes out of one company's pocket, if you will, into another, right? And so the snake oil salesman and everything else that you're talking about, as long as these projects are profit driven, right? And everyone's looking to capture that government money and government aid. I feel like you're going to continue to have bad policies because we're trying to make money off them, not serve the people, which is, hey, how can we best have a renewable and cheap energy source?
I know a little bit about this. This heating the water. This is very old technology. This is.
It's the basis of nuclear power. It's the basis of coal power. There's
one of these. I don't know if it's
heat, water, spin turbine.
There's down in Barstow built like in the 70s. So it's heat up water, turn a turbine. Awesome. I didn't know the part about you need to get the natural gas burned to get the turbine spinning in the first place. But as an engineer, makes sense to me, but as a program manager goes, this is probably a bad way to do this. So I agree, these should have been photovoltaic cells from the beginning. I don't think any of us were living here when this project came along. This has been here for about 15 years now, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know why they made the choices they had. It's in California, so
Well, and this is like,
place your own bets on how that decision got made.
well, it was it's going to provide this much electricity to San Francisco Bay, and it's going to be 1,000 jobs for Las Vegas, and it did neither.
And it was 0 jobs for Las Vegas.
Exactly.
I think.
A few, I'm sure, but yeah, 'cause who's going to live in Primm?
Who's going to live in Ivanpah?
Yeah, fair. Yeah. Oh, okay.
And you didn't even mention the birds catching on fire.
That is, yes. If you
What?
Google the Primm Solar Power Plant or the Ivanpah Power Plant, and you'll see what they're talking about. But yeah, the birds that do fly through the reflective mirrors
They call
will.
them streamers because they go.
It is. That is. Think about frying an ant with a magnifying glass, and yeah.
I immediately want to go watch this.
So
I know what I'm doing later tonight.
So Drew,
Or as we move into.
would you like to rethink that statement?
Okay, because as
What
we.
you're going to do later tonight.
Because I'm gonna. Yeah, this is where I'm going. Because as we move into your cold topic, I feel like it's going to lead to what you're really going to be doing later tonight.
Well, I won't be visiting Mississippi because I might be expelling a little genetic material. The AVNs are in town. You gotta love it. For those who don't know, Adult Video News. Yes, it is the Oscars of porn, and I am happy that it's hosted in our town. It is wonderful to see all the people running around, all the different expos. I didn't get a chance to actually make it out this year, but one of the things we did find out, and thank you to Mental for sharing this with me, is that when AVN was going to be at the Virgin.
Yes.
Help me out here.
Oh yes, no, and that's one of so many delicious puns. Yes, the Adult Video Awards, the network at Virgin Hotels. And let's just keep going because it used to be known as Hard Rock.
Oh, I have more thought bubbles.
I told you this was the best nonsense
But
on the internet.
That was the last hotel to strike their deal with the culinary unions there and the bartending unions, and it was, I believe, the folks from AVN that said, "Hey, if you can't get this squared away, we're going to step away.
We will not cross a picket line.
We will not cross a picket line and
because
have our award show here."
porn people have morals.
Damn right they do. God bless every single one of them.
Watch my interview with Onyx Muse and find out.
You absolutely should. We're going to link that here.
She's actually at AVN. She's probably at AVN right now signing autographs and
no
pictures
doubt.
right now.
The punchline, and we did not make this up, the strike lasted 69 days.
Sometimes life just writes the jokes themselves. Yeah. A 69-day strike ended when porn stars took a stand to help out culinary and bartender unions to stick it to Virgin Hotels.
Drew, stop.
No longer the hard rock that it was.
Dude, save it for the video you're going to produce.
Oh, I'm not going to Mississippi tonight.
To be fair, the porn folks have probably already produced 3 videos about that already. So
Yeah. Big brother, why are you crossing the picket line? What are you doing, stepbrother?
It's okay, I'm your stepbrother.
What's it going to take to keep you here? I know.
Hope your kids weren't listening to that one. Now
YouTube might make us be 18 plus on this one.
I think I checked that box already. Just I just out of habit on the internet. Yes, I'm 18. But do you let us in with that? Actually, this is great. I noticed you printed a position paper on that cartels.
This is the executive order. Actually.
Yeah. Do you have another thing for us?
Another executive order? No. But
No.
I do have another topic for you.
Okay, because if I did not realize you had the power of executive orders, which I would feel a lot more comfortable if you had the power of executive orders.
As much power on executive orders as anybody does.
Yeah. But I would feel better if you were the one writing them.
All you do is have someone. Apparently, all you do is have someone chat GPT something, and then sign it with a Sharpie,
and hold it up for the world to see.
And I can do that.
Oh, epic.
So, I've probably lost my military pension now, but
It's not like you're trying to do a quality initiative.
Yeah. No, I do have another topic. Did you guys hear Starbucks now is going to make you buy something if you want to hang out or use the bathroom?
I did hear that, and I'm sad they had to come to that, but as a begrudging yet often customer of Starbucks and the nature of coffee, sometimes you do have to use the bathroom. I'm more than a little happy, and it wasn't that far off. I mean, for Pete's sakes, like now they were getting to the point like a gas station in the 70s with the key that they were, basically attaching to a giant steel coffee pot, for if you wanted to use their bathroom. And we had our conversation about the unhoused population, and that's a challenge, but not just that. There's also just some terrible human beings that do some god-awful things in a bathroom.
Well, and terrible things in the bathroom aside, except in Mississippi. Right?
That's a callback.
Yeah.
That's a comedy thing.
Comedy thing. You guys don't tend to frequent Starbucks during the day because you work.
I've just.
And I don't.
You don't leave your house. I often have meetings in Starbucks.
Hopefully not the bathroom.
I don't think I've ever had one in the bathroom, no. Certainly not one in Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
I know, Mississippi, I understand. Like I said, you do it to yourself. Well, apparently not anymore.
From the top rope. That's quality pod,
Just
people.
one quick
Quality
thing on
pod.
that. I thought I saw as I was reading the article about that today that there's a loophole that if you use a contraception device, it's okay.
Oh, back to Mississippi.
Back to Mississippi. Yeah.
So if you use
no, that has nothing to do with nothing to do with Starbucks, Drew. I don't know when the last time you were at Starbucks was.
You said I stay home a lot. As long as you've got a condom on, Starbucks lets you use the bathroom.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I feel like the real, like the loser on this one is a Starbucks in Mississippi.
So sorry.
No good.
I really am.
So
my point being is sometimes folks go into Starbucks and just work and don't buy anything.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. And I know, all right, some of you are going to say, okay, boomer. This is where I point out we are Gen Xers. We are.
as indicated by the fact that we don't care.
We don't care that you call us boomer because we don't care about anything. Remember when we were growing up? And when we were young adults, even in like our 20s in the 90s?
Yeah.
If you were going to use something in a place, you bought something.
You had to.
You didn't need a rule.
No, I did.
It was courteous. That's what you did.
I actually, yeah. You know what?
Bought so much gum.
Yeah, so much gum.
The one exception to that, it has only been recently in the last couple of years since I moved here. As mentioned, we're Gen X, we're getting a little older. I still do not accept that while I enjoy eating spicy food, sometimes my body doesn't appreciate it. And I have had instances where I've been coming home from something or on my way to something, and the countdown clock shows up in the side of my eyeball, letting me know that the time to my destination is more than the time I have to find a clean bathroom.
Hit crisis.
Right. And one of the advantages of living in Las Vegas is the casinos all have very clean bathrooms, all of them, all the time. And so that has been just in recent years and you can count the times on one hand, an exception to my buy something, to use their facilities rule. But I'm not a heavy gambler, but I am a casino fan, so I don't feel guilty because I do frequent those places as a client often.
I will argue, and this is an exception to the rule, Vegas casinos, I can't really speak to casinos other places, I've been to them, don't know them as well. Vegas casinos probably view that as marketing and cultivating a potential future customer. They are probably not upset about that because the casinos really like when people walk in and even if they don't spend something today, decide to come back later to spend money. So I would argue that is not really a loophole, but I would argue that the Vegas casinos are okay with your choice and would welcome you back with open arms to leave your money behind.
So going back to that, yes, it's almost a compulsion at this point. If I am using a facility, I'm getting gas, or I'm buying a Coke, or I'm buying a water or something. Yes, absolutely. If I'm going to use and we all travel. Well, you and I travel a lot, and I prefer to drive a lot of times. And yeah, if I'm using your bathroom, I am purchasing something in addition.
There's probably not a pilot or Flying J between here and the Mississippi River that I have not used, and I have purchased coffee at all of them. And that's just good news for the next Flying J or Pilot truck stop along the road.
That's how you know you have the right vehicle, is right as it's hitting empty, it's time for you to use the bathroom.
Yes. I think you really touched on it, as you as well. Look at that. We all have great ideas.
Not Mississippi, though.
Can't touch it in Mississippi.
For Starbucks, I think it's fine for them to say, we are a coffee shop. If you come in and buy our coffee and our muffins, then you can use our very clean restroom and our free workplace and Wi-Fi. Anywhere else, you would not walk in and go, I'm going to use your Wi-Fi and just hang out all day. Like at Hobby Lobby, I mean, they'd probably be a little upset.
I mean, if you're a hot girl, you can come to my house.
What I think the casinos, though, they do. They have free car charging. They have very clean bathrooms, and a lot of them. They are very welcoming for you to come there and be idle, because eventually you're going to put a couple bucks in a machine.
House always wins,
Right.
baby.
House always wins.
And so I think it's just two different mindsets. Casinos want you there. They're happy to have you there for long periods of time. Starbucks wants to serve you and give you a pleasant experience, and then serve another.
There was if you've ever seen the show Fleabag, I think literally it was the first episode. She runs a coffee shop, and it showed a guy come in there, plug in his laptop, get the Wi-Fi password, then plug in his phone. And she's like, so would you like anything? No, I'm good. And she's, staring at him while he's, just hacking, using all of her stuff and not buying anything. So it's not even a uniquely U.S. problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And right now, the boomers are like, these lazy millennials and their $7 lattes. I have seen more old people in a Starbucks sitting on their phone than, at least the millennials I see at least have a coffee in front of them.
If you buy the $7 coffee, sit there and check your phone, do your apps, do some business. I'm sure when you go and have
also make $7 more because you bought a $7 coffee.
Right? Yes. Check your investments. Do what you got to do.
Put a few bucks in a machine. This Las Vegas, there's probably a machine in there.
Also, no matter what Starbucks tells you, it's not okay to eat dessert all day if you put it in a cup. Because that's what Starbucks has tricked everybody into.
Oh.
It's all milk and sugar. But put it in a cup and it's okay. It doesn't count.
This is why my doctor yells at me, because I will just freebase sugar. Get in my belly. Oh, I don't care, yes. My doctor threatened to cut my foot off. I said, give me a bionic one, I don't care. I like cookies.
I'm looking. We are well off the rails here.
We are well off the rails. And I would like to remind our listeners, that's not a joke. Drew's doctor did tell him he's going to cut his foot off if he didn't eat better.
I think we were trying to take
Coming soon to an open mic night near you, the story of Drew and his foot.
If you think Drew should follow his doctor's advice and keep his foot, put 1 in the comments. If you think Drew should not worry about his doctor's advice
and do coke,
put 2 in the comments.
Well, now
and
if you think
Drew should do cocaine, put 3 in the comments.
Oh, we're gonna get banned on all the channels now.
Okay.
And
also, if you see Mental walking very quickly in a casino, you know what he's doing.
Just get out of the way. Get out of the way. We'll talk in a minute. Just turtle head. Okay. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to disagree or you want to agree, if you need to correct our math, he is a rocket scientist. You better be right. If you want to know where the good tacos are, and I know where the good tacos are, hence the bathroom thing. Drop us a line at sincityspin.podcast@gmail.com. You can call or text us at 702-721-7328. We are on the Facebooks. We are on the Instas. We're on the Reddits. We're on that thing known as Twitter. But that's all we have for this week. Thank you. Stay safe, and hopefully luck will be your lady. But if you wind up broke, well, I hope you had a swinging time.
Not in Mississippi.
All right. Okay.